Welcome back to the Chill Zone podcast. I am your host Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin', and of course I'm here with my co-host Roger.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
And this week, again, we don't have a special guest, but hopefully next week we got a surprise with our new co-host next week, so be on the lookout for that. But Roger, how you been?
Pretty good. Just feeling like crap the past few days. Spring's starting near us, so snow's almost all melted in a day, so it feels pretty good. It's like 45 degrees, which feels like
Oh,
summer.
okay. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's been like about 85 degrees here. It's been more
Yikes.
summertime for us already.
Yeah, no,
But
it changed quick.
yeah, for sure. But we'll see how long it lasts because you know how it like here's a tease for spring
Oh,
and back to wintertime.
you get 45 degrees for like 3 days, and you're like, wow, I only need a
It's a-
sweatshirt, and then it's like back down to 10. You're like, oh, it's snowing again. Cool, I
yeah.
guess. Great.
That's the down part with PA that I don't miss is the weather, like how it just drastically changes like back and forth
Mm,
for
yep,
sure.
it's.
But other than that, man, well, what you been playing?
Been playing WoW mostly, and some Stellaris here and there. Been playing Paradox games.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so
You working on yourself or any projects at all?
just been reading. I started. I actually started the Obama's new book there. I would say
Hmm.
last week. It's
Okay,
just an interesting book. For
right,
those
right, yeah,
who like politics and want to just. It's sort of a whole an introspection at his political career and what he thinks and where he got to, and it kind of makes me think, if I want to go into politics one day, maybe, you know.
right, right. No, yeah, it's definitely a book that's on my list to get to.
Mhm.
But me personally, I've been good, just chilling, working, knocking the podcast and talk show out. Game wise, I've been obviously I beat Watch Dogs Legion. I was supposed to get the review up on yesterday, but I had got busy. I had to go take care of my girlfriend because she had surgery and stuff, so I was making sure I was there for her. Um, but game I've been playing Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Mhm.
Boy, is that an underrated game. That game just slid underneath the radar and was just released in a very odd time.
Mhm.
Um, and the game is just it's really good. The story is beautiful. Like
Mhm.
everything has meaning to it. I feel like I'm not running to go collect this for nothing.
Okay.
Like just to get XP. Like it's none of that. And like each like little thing you can do in the world has a purpose. Like if you want more health, go do these kind of missions. Like if you want better stamina, go do this kind of mission. Or like there are puzzles and stuff like that. Like the puzzles are intuitive. Like it's just the world building is there, the puzzles are there, and the graphics just look
Mhm.
pretty damn good.
That's awesome.
And they weren't lying when they said when it's like Breath of the Wild and like Assassin's Creed Odyssey had a baby.
Mhm.
That's pretty much exactly what it is.
No, that's pretty
It's
cool.
just an all around good game. I highly recommend it to you and anybody else who's looking for a good game. And I'm surprised it's a Ubisoft game, and those games have been like copy paste, copy paste, copy paste.
Yeah.
But this one just has like a unique take on an open world game. I think it's phenomenal.
If it does well, maybe it'll be the beginning of a new style of Ubisoft game.
Right? Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm down for it. Heck, they can tell all kind of stories in this world if they
Mhm.
wanted to keep it in the same
Well,
universe. If
not
not,
even
they
the
can
same
create new stuff.
universe. Just use it as a new format.
Right.
Make games based on how they made this one.
Right. No, yeah, I agree. But working on myself, I just been working on my eating. Basically cut out like if not all fast food. I've been trying to meal prep and stuff,
Mhm.
so that's been fun to get into, and apparently lost some weight so far.
Good.
So far so good. Working on it. Gotta get rid of this gut here.
Yeah, I feel you.
but now let's get into our gaming topics this week, man. We got a lot of gaming news this week. This first topic here, I know you're really excited for. I haven't dove into the game yet because I'm still waiting on a graphics card, unfortunately. But the future of Valheim. I did see that they released like a roadmap. What's that like?
So I saw that Valheim. It was 2 weeks ago after I started playing it. They released their roadmap, what they're going to be doing. So we're looking at the first one is Home and Hearth, which is really awesome because I think the game so far it they could have released this as a full game, and I would have been like, yeah, yeah, it's a full game.
Yeah, because
Um,
it's in early access, right, or
mhm.
whatever it's called at this point.
Yeah, and I think it's got like 6 biomes right now in the game, and each biome has its own boss. And the idea is they're trying to, in the next few months, hopefully have 9 biomes and 9 bosses, and add some mini bosses. So the first update is Home and Hearth. It's the only one they kind
Yeah.
of talked about, and from the developer talk, they said it's going to be mostly about things to do in the home to keep
Right,
people playing around their
like base
houses.
building and stuff like that too.
Yeah, to entice the players to actually want to build cool things and build houses and build
Hmm.
different locations as opposed to build a hut and just go kill things.
Right.
They want
Th-
to
This game, this
build onto
game
it.
almost reminds me of like Minecraft, like just like
Well,
a.
no, it's exactly what it is. It's a sandbox game, but it's a new take on the sandbox game genre. It's
Right.
you're a Viking in Norse mythology. You look up, you see Yggdrasil, the World Tree. You're going to kill bosses. You're going to kill things of note like Eikthyr, a Norse creature. So there's a
Yeah.
lot to the game itself, and
Hmm.
the game also has a nice scaling difficulty. So we're looking at it. They want to get out 5 total updates. I think they said. Home and Hearth is the
Hmm.
first one. They want to do something. I forget what it's called. It's something about the wolf, and then the third one is going to be the sea. The fourth one is to hopefully get to their 9 biomes and 9 bosses, and maybe some mini bosses. So it should
Yeah,
be
that's
pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah, I mean they got a long road ahead of them. It's a game that seems like it's succeeding very
Well,
well. I think they had like 3 million downloads or something like that
yep, they
already.
just hit 3 million this week, and they already have been topping the charts for Steam's playability. Steam's concurrent players. They made
Yeah.
it to like fourth the other week or this week, so they're doing
Yeah,
really well.
it's insane. I mean, it's just one of those
It's a
games
game
that
that
caught
came out of
on, and
nowhere.
right. It's just one of those games that blew up with streaming. Like
Hmm.
streamers started playing it, and then everyone started playing it, and then boom, it blows up. It's
Yep.
just it's crazy watching these games that do come out of nowhere and
Hmm.
just explode
Well,
every
all
time.
it
Like,
takes is a good concept and a really nicely worked game. That's the thing. Like the industry will really appreciate it. But right now we're just kind of we're getting to that point where everything's very formulaic. So it's always the same game, just reskinned a little bit. With this, it's a whole new sort of just it.
take on that
Yeah,
genre that's
it's
already
it's a
there.
new take on the genre, but it adds a lot more to it.
Right, right. No,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm looking
it's
forward to checking it out eventually.
and
I
exactly
hope it comes to
spooky.
consoles.
Yeah, no, honestly, I'm not too worried about it coming to console right away. I think its
Right, take
success
no
alone on
TA.
PA. Yeah, and that's exactly right. Good games do well, and it goes to show. It's just people buy into the herd mentality is a big thing right now. Oh, my friends have the Assassin's Creed. I want to play the next Assassin's Creed game. I have to do this. I have to keep going. Like I stopped playing Assassin's Creed. Like at times I'm like, oh, I want to go back and play and feel the story, but like the game franchise kind of burned me. It felt like they had 2 bad
Right,
games, and I was like, why would I want to pay for any more?
right.
You know?
Well, at least the last three games from Assassin's Creed have been great.
Hmm.
Honestly,
Yeah, and
it changed up the formula a little bit, added some new stuff. Like,
yeah,
obviously they got to stick to the roots to keep it an Assassin's Creed game,
yeah.
but
But
it's nice.
nonetheless, it's good games do well, and that's the thing. We're in a rut right now, and this is developed, I think, by like 4 people. 4 people
Right,
working
another
together.
small team. Yeah,
And it doesn't have to be super visually appealing. Like distance creates the illusion of detail. So when you're close up, the game is actually super pixelated. It's like looking at Minecraft textures. But when you're far away, a tree looks like a tree. But when you're close up, the tree just is a pixelated mess. But it looks good. That's the thing. Like the quality of sprites isn't there right now, but the game still it has the play. That's the thing. We're so worried about graphics lately. Games are like it has to be graphically appeasing. Everything has to be about graphics. Does it? Doesn't
right.
good playability talk better? Doesn't a good story sometimes talk better? Something to engross you, something to actually spend your time on.
Right, right. I mean, it can only get better from here too. I
Yeah,
mean, it may look bad now, but say a year from now, it could be
yeah,
a super polished
and
game. I mean,
and
it is in
that's the
early
thing.
access.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. But no, I think it's definitely a game to watch. And if you haven't played it, jump onto Valheim. You can always reach out to me, and I'm definitely willing. I'm thinking about running a server here soon for Valheim, and I'm definitely gonna reach out to people and let them join us.
Mhm.
But
Actually, is it? Do I need a graphics? Do we need a graphics card to run it?
you could try it without one.
Yeah. Okay. How much
It's
is it? Is it free or is it? You got? Is it $20?
$20 or
I forget
something,
what
I
it is.
think, on
Yeah.
PC. You
Yeah.
might
Not
actually
this.
be able to get away with it relatively lightly. It might lag a little bit here and there, but it's actually pretty good, to be honest.
Right.
Like,
I'm gonna have to check out the specs to see if I can run it with my built-in GPU to the CPU.
might be
Yeah,
able
that's
to.
worth a try. Right.
But so, the next game we're talking about here. Have you played Fall Guys? I think you mentioned before you have. Are
Yeah,
you?
I bought it on PS4, but just
Mm-hmm.
because like I don't have any way to play with. Like I played like a few times. I think I got like a one time, and just
Mm-hmm.
like put it to the side. It was just like it's a game it's more enjoyable if you're playing with friends and like
No,
being able to like
I
conversate
definitely
with it.
agree. And so, are you excited that it's coming to Xbox?
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait because like I know a bunch of people who will be down to hop on that game, and we'll all hop in a party chat. And what I'm really looking forward to is to see if it if they add crossplay because that'll just make everything way better.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll be able to play with you on PC. I got
Mm-hmm.
tons of guys on Xbox. Like it's just I think it'll be better once it has it. It's a game
No,
that
I agree.
it would make sense to have it. Like why doesn't it have it already? Like or
Mm-hmm.
at least because obviously it's not out for other systems yet. But once it does, I think it should have it immediately.
No, I
But
kind of
hey,
agree.
again, it's another small game that came out of nowhere from um, a rather small, maybe not four people small, but
Yeah,
rather small developer as well.
yeah, and it added a whole new, not genre, but a whole new concept to the game, like to gaming industry.
They brought
This big party pack game.
they brought Wipeout to the video game universe,
Yeah,
more
well,
or less.
yeah, no, just a very simplistic game.
Right, and it appeals to everyone. Like because of the kiddie artistic anime look to it, like Fortnite. It
Hmm.
appeals to kids because of how it looks.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's just an overall fun game. It's a party game.
Hmm.
Um, uh, Fall Guys, get out of here. It's not a dead game.
It's
It's a game that's
definitely
still around.
yeah, it's definitely not dead, but it's definitely not like
It's not
top.
where it was when it
No,
first came out, where it was like at
no.
its peak.
And I don't think any number of DLC is really going to help the game. It's going to have its
Yeah.
core community, and they're going to play it.
Right. It's just going to be a game that hey, you want to hop in it for a couple times? All right, cool. Hop in and hop back out. Like, it's not
Yeah,
a game that you're going to be like, yo, let's play Fall Guys all day or all weekend. Like, no,
yeah,
it's not
exactly.
there.
It's like,
Unless you're a
while we're
streamer.
waiting for somebody here, let's play Fall Guys for an hour or something while we wait for somebody to
Right.
get done eating dinner.
We're playing like drunk Fall Guys. I'm down to play that.
Yeah, I would play Drunk Fall Guys.
I think what they need to add is like custom matches or something like that. That would be so cool to build like your own levels and like build your own rules to it or something like
Yeah,
that.
it would really, I think, be a cool concept to be able to kind of build your own levels, but I think that's something that's just too far off into the future.
Yeah, I don't see it coming anytime soon, but who knows?
Yeah.
Might be the next big update, like in the summertime. Like, hey guys, you can go create your own levels. Like, yes,
Hmm.
exactly what I asked for.
No, I agree. So, but
But
moving
another,
on from Fall
yeah,
Guys, have you
another
ever?
another good game
Yeah.
that's announced was Taxi Chaos. Man, boy, does that bring back memories. Because
I hated that game. I hated the taxi genre game. I
the
just
Crazy Taxi.
I hated Crazy Taxi. When you posted that and it was like Killer Taxi, I'm like, it looks like complete garbage. I'm like, I'm not looking for that kind of arcadey game anymore. It'd be
Right.
cool if it was like an arcade machine you had down in your basement. And you were all like, drunk competing on it. But I'm not gonna go out of my way buy a $60 game or whatnot just to play an arcade game. It was just never really that enticing to me. But what
Right.
about you?
Did, I believe your sister used to play it a lot, didn't she? I feel like that was a game that she
Yeah.
always talked about.
She played it. I played it a little bit there. It was okay. It was on. I think we played it on GameCube for a while there. Crazy Taxi. I even remember
Yeah.
how it like the intro.
No, it was just like a weird, fun,
Hmm.
I don't know, interesting game. But it's
Yeah.
cool that they're reviving, I guess, their franchise, I guess you would say. I don't even know if it's the same developer, to be
No, I
honest,
just
but
think it's just they're trying to revive a style of game that hasn't been
yeah.
around for a while.
And this might be a good time too, because like people are always looking for that next just fun, entertaining game just to
Hmm.
hop in, hop out.
Something to
Like,
keep themselves busy.
right. And I think that's exactly what it is. So, I mean, I expect it to do good. It might just be one of those games, like I said, they'll be able to enjoy, but I don't think it's going to be like, oh, this game is amazing.
Yeah,
It's,
it's
I don't think it's
it's
going to be
it's
that.
literally just a superpower taxi cab game where you're supposed to like run through shortcuts and like try to map out the quickest route through the town. I'm like, yeah, it's how much is there
Oh,
really
taxi
to it?
simulator.
Yeah,
That's what they can call it, taxi simulator.
yeah, taxi cab simulator.
The Simpsons Road Rage, man.
Yeah,
What a game.
yeah, like games like that. That's a solid game. It's like the taxi cab, like Killer Taxi or Taxi Chaos. To me, that's like a mini game within an actual game. Like
Right.
I had
It
more
sounds like a game that you would see in like Watch Dogs
yeah
or something like that, you know?
I had more fun taxi cabbing people when I was playing Steambot Chronicles on the PS2. Like
Oh,
I
jeez.
honestly found no value in this game to be honest. It's just to make all it's so simplistic. There's just not enough to it to me, I think.
Right, right. Oh, yeah, I agree. We'll just have to see how this game goes. I
Yeah.
think it comes out. It should be coming out soon because they just released the official launch trailer. So
Hmm.
I didn't even check to see when the release date was. But I assume it's coming out probably in March. Would be my guess.
Yeah. Sometime around there, I assume.
But on to some more news. Sony actually had a big week. I'm going to group a lot of these topics that we laid out here.
Yeah.
Sony start off today. They had their state of play that came out of nowhere.
Hmm.
Um, they announced, or I guess not really announced, but they just revisited a couple of the games they already talked about.
Yeah.
Um, like we were talking pre-show, some of the games were already showcased at most recent
At
Nintendo Direct
the
show.
Nintendo Direct, they were like, "See, look, the dodgeball game," and we're like, "You spent 10 minutes talking about a dodgeball game that the Switch already covered last week." It's like,
Right. It
uh,
looks fun. Well, check it out,
look,
maybe.
yeah,
But
maybe, yeah, but I don't know if I'm really gonna. It's just another one of those arena games. I would rather just play a shooter game like Valorant, to be honest. I'm not looking
right,
for the next big like arena game anymore. If I'm gonna play one, I'm probably gonna end up playing the game I already play. But
right, right.
it looks interesting. We were supposed to hopefully see some, actual games that we are looking forward to, like the Silent Hill remakes. I don't believe I saw a Silent Hill remake today, so they didn't even
No,
tease that. So one of the
they didn't
things
even
that
talk about Horizon Forbidden West
yeah,
that's supposed to be coming out this year. They
I
didn't talk about God of War
there's
Ragnarok. They
just
didn't talk about that.
there's just so many things that the community is like, yes, this is what the PS5 needs to make itself, the console again. This is the thing it
Right.
needs. And we didn't get anything really. It just felt like they were like, here's some crappy third-party games, and it's like,
Right.
I,
There was one game that stood out to me that I personally want to check out is Returnal. That game looks pretty dope.
mhm,
I like the graphically looks good.
yeah,
The mechanics and the gameplay looks amazing. So I believe it should be a PlayStation exclusive. I think that comes out it's soon. It's in the next couple months. So I mean,
yeah,
maybe one day once I have a PS5, I'll check it out. But in the
maybe.
meantime,
But like then again, they also talked about how PlayStation exclusives are coming to PC too. So,
right,
you know,
yeah,
is
which
something
that
like
starts
this
off
going to come to PC? So then do I even need a PS5 anymore either?
right. Yeah, but I don't know if they're going to be releasing like PlayStation exclusives that are like new ones to
Yeah,
PC. I think
or
they're
just
just going
like
to be
old
starting
ones.
with like their collection, like because their first game is Days Gone.
Yeah.
Is that game amazing? No, but is it a good game? Yeah. I mean, I've never played it, but it's been reviewed pretty well.
Yeah, the
But
the
it is
community
an
agrees
interesting,
it's okay.
it's
Yeah,
an
it's good.
interesting concept with the zombies. I mean, zombie survival games, but like that one had an interesting mechanic with like the hordes,
Mhm.
like massive amounts of like zombies at one time, and you have to like somehow control them or make them like disappear and stuff like that. So yeah, the game looks fun. It's been one of the games that I wanted to check out just because I love anything zombie related,
Yeah, a lot of
movies,
people.
TV series.
The zombie phase has never left people. In the back of our mind, we've always loved the idea of zombies, as a society ever since the inundation of it in culture, pop culture.
Right, all thanks to George Romero, right?
Yeah.
Or at least him and I think there's somebody else that also helped out with the zombie thing in the early days.
Hmm.
But like, I don't know. I mean, but Sony's been doing good. There was a couple other games that they talked
Yeah.
about was like Oddworld. That seems a very interesting game. Apparently, it's free if you're a PS Plus member, so
Hmm.
that's cool. So I can't imagine that game
Well,
being
yeah.
too in depth or too
Wasn't
big of a
that
game.
wasn't that the one that was the side scroller or something there? And I was like,
Kinda, it
and
looks
I
like a
think
side
it's
scroller like
yeah.
platformer
Yeah,
game.
well, their last Oddworld game I thought was a 3D run around game, so I'm a little confused that they're going back to a platformer style game. But
Right.
I I definitely wasn't impressed sliding through it. There's like maybe one game in there that kind of interested me, and it was like that sort of alien supernatural first person shooter game that they teased.
Mhm.
But
Which one was that?
I can't remember which one it was now because there were so many games. There was like 10 games or whatever that they previewed, but nothing really was like what I wanted to see. You know, I wanted to see things like the Final Fantasy VII Remake 2 Part 2. We got Final Fantasy VII Remake remastered import to PS5 with added features. And I was like, how long do I have to wait for a quality Final Fantasy VII game? Like Final Fantasy VII Remake, that was an awesome game. I loved it from beginning to end when I played it.
Right, right.
But, you know,
And
it
then
wasn't that long.
right, and then that other game they talked about was kind of Bridge Spirits.
Yeah.
That game gave off like Ori vibes, like just like how it. I don't know, it just had like the artistic style, like the play of it just looked and
No,
feel
I don't.
like felt.
Yeah, I don't think that's the one I was referring. Oh, that's the one you
No,
were talking about though that you
yeah,
like.
I'm talking about that one.
Yeah.
With Iroh Crush for Dodgeball Knockout,
Yeah.
Slow Clap, which is I'm not sure what the Slow Clap reveals Saifu. That the game
Yeah.
looked weird. Um,
But
Hyper
yeah.
Solar Ash actually looks really dope.
Mhm.
That game really looked really appealing to me.
Mhm.
Um, they did announce a new Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
That I don't know how that's even still around, but
Well, Five Nights at Freddy's had a big cult following, and honestly, I can see why it's still going. It's a horrifying game. There's like
I was
straight up
watching it.
spook.
They were like, if you're into horror games, check out this. And they were showing. I was like, this doesn't look scary at all. Like it just looks
It's
creepy in a way, but
well,
like it's
the idea is you can't fight back. It's one of those Amnesia Dark Descent style games where you're
yeah.
using
But
all your tools to survive, but you can't fight back. And yeah,
right,
that's exactly right. The developer keeps mixing up the formula because, like, the original formula was you're in a room monitoring the place after hours, whereas this one you're trying to survive.
right, right.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks good, but like I was never a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's because it was just the kind of horror I don't like. The kind where you're flipping through channels and and then all of a sudden the channel you flip to, there's a face in your screen. You're like, oh, like that's not my kind of game.
And the other game was Deathloop, which is that interesting game because it's being made by Arcane Studios, which is owned by Bethesda, which is
Yeah.
now about to be owned by Xbox. So it's a PlayStation exclusive that's owned by Xbox. That's hilarious. But that game looks pretty cool
Hmm.
because, like, I guess like you're going to die a lot in that game, and that's the whole purpose of the game because like you're gonna like you every time you die, like you go back into the level, everything's like different. Like you can take different approaches. Like they're
Yeah.
going to be in different locations. Like and like the whole objective, I guess, is to kill the person who you're trying to assassinate, I guess.
Yeah.
But if you don't, in a certain amount of time, you die and you go back to the beginning. Like it's an endless loop. That's why it's a death loop. You die and you start back over.
Yeah.
So it's not. So it's
It's
an interesting
it's a
concept.
little bit of a mold on the whole Dark Souls style gameplay where, you're trying to do something and you die over and over
You know,
and over and over. So,
right?
no, it sounds interesting, but I wasn't impressed by the PlayStation the state of
State
play.
of
It
play.
wasn't very
Yeah.
good. It wasn't
Right.
like, whoa, maybe I might get a PS5. It was like
Yeah. If I had to rank the last two showcases, like Nintendo Direct or PlayStation State of Play,
Nintendo Direct,
Nintendo
PlayStation.
Direct.
Yeah,
Now all we gotta do is see an Xbox event
like
that's supposed to come out in March. So
yeah,
let's see where that ranks.
yeah, and exactly. And the Xbox One is more relevant to me as well, like the Nintendo one was, because like the Xbox is going to go to PC anyway. All their
Right.
exclusives are on PC now too, so I'll be excited to see what's going on there. But like, I don't know, PlayStation to me seems like it's kind of doing poorly for U.S. audiences. Like they have
Right.
stuff out there, it's just not what it was.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy to see like all the gems that were on PS4, and yeah, granted we're still in the early
Well, the
early days
gems
of
on PS1, PS2, PS3 had some
yeah.
great games. PS4 had some awesome games, but the PlayStation 5, I guess it's still coming into its own, but at the same time I think maybe they felt rushed to keep up with Microsoft's release.
Right.
And they're just like, here's our dehumidifier unit that's 6 feet tall. Whatever the
It's massive.
PlayStation 5 looks to you, it's not a refrigerator like the Xbox, but it
Right.
I guess
But
maybe it felt
the
like they were trying to
PS5
keep
next to
up.
the Xbox makes the Xbox look small.
hmm Yeah, no,
Crazy.
that's the crazy thing. The PS5 is supposed to be huge, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, I've actually seen it and held it and stuff like that. I'm just like, this is insane. Why is it so
Mhm.
big? Like it's bigger than any wireless router, Wi-Fi router I've ever owned in my life. Like it's too big.
Mhm.
It's like damn near the size of my tower, my computer tower.
Yeah,
Like height wise, not obviously
yeah,
everything else, but it's just unnecessary. They said they made it so big for the airflow.
ergonomic.
Right. It was like you could have made it a little bit smaller and had better airflow. I mean, the Xbox
hmm
did it.
Yeah,
But
but
just one more thing from Sony, they did announce that the next gen PSVR is in development, so
yeah.
that actually wasn't expecting to hear anything like that anytime soon.
Well, I don't know. I just felt like the PSVR wasn't that big either. Like nobody I talked to really was like PSVR is the way of the future. It's like Microsoft's
I
like,
think
yeah, just let
VR
other
in
people
general,
play with
now,
VR. We're good.
right? VR is like still like it's there, but it's like not mainstream.
Well,
Like not a lot of
it's
people have it either.
I think the big thing is people just don't realize how easy it is to get into VR, and there's nothing there that's really like the VR game yet. Like if you see it every so often, VR has some really good games. Like one of my favorites are like there's combat simulator games. One of the ones I
Hmm.
was playing, I played with Phil the one time, and me and Phil are shooting our guns in the one combat simulator. We're running around the house, actually like I'm getting down on my knee, like trying to hide over a bunker and stuff. Like VR is there. It has some great stuff, and like I could pull out the clip from Phil's gun mid shot so that he stopped shooting. VR is there. It has a lot of fun things to it, but I think PlayStation is trying to bring it to the not accessible market, but make it mainstream, I guess. And I don't know.
Right.
It just feels like they're not doing as well, like as good of a job. Because like you can get a VR headset and use it with a gaming computer for $300 now, and it's an
Right.
amazing headset. Don't get me wrong. It's
Right.
great. The Oct-
I'm interested to see how much this PSV the new
yeah,
PSVR headset's going to cost because like I think the old one was like what $300.
I thought it was more than that, but yeah, no, it's like buying a
It might be like
console.
it might have been more. Yeah, it was like its own console, and it really isn't because you need a. Didn't you need
Yeah,
the PlayStation 4 to
yeah,
run it anyway?
yes, you had to have a
So it's
PlayStation to
like-
run it.
right. So that was a lot of money that you had to invest just
Yeah,
to play VR.
exactly. Whereas like if you go grab an Oculus, you can play it with your phone instead of with a computer, or you can grab a computer to render even better games, like
Right.
Half-Life Alyx, for example.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah. I heard that was a really good game. That's probably
yeah,
one of the better VR games
hmm
to get into for sure. But
no, I agree. But no. So moving on from PlayStation and how they're doing. So you and me both saw this hilarious lawsuit that the Chicago lawmakers want to, or not lawsuit, but this bill that Chicago lawmakers want to announce a ban on
yeah,
GTA 5 in Chicago
yeah,
because of carjackings.
yeah. But it just sounds funny as hell and stupid as I don't know
That's
what. Because like that's like trying to say like, all right, cool, we got to ban all shooter games because there's a rise in people shooting each other or
it's
something like
it's
that. Like,
scapegoating. It's scapegoating. It's scapegoating as well as like this straw man thing. It's we need to
right,
make up a fake enemy for people to stand behind and hate. You've got
right.
these you've
Mind
got
you,
these boomers who are just uncultured sometimes or just not well knowledged on what's going on in the world around them. And if somebody just
right,
says these kids are learning these things from these shooter games or GTA 5 and it's like, Grand Theft Auto is corrupting our youth and it's like, "Oh, I'll believe you. Let's ban it." And it's like, and then we go like, "Let's ban guns," and people are like, "Oh, you can't do that." It's like,
right.
it's the same thing with video games. Like, get
Take
the
their
fuck out of
iPad.
here. Like,
Right.
yeah, it pisses me off. Like the EU bans, like, because Germany bans violence in video games, like blatant gratuitous violence. There is no blood splatter or anything. Like, if you buy a game in the EU, it doesn't have blood splatter effects. It doesn't really have, these gratuitous violence scenes. So they take a lot
Right.
of stuff out to fit German laws, and like it feels like, wow, we're conforming to the people everyone wants to keep knocking. We're like, oh, we gotta ban these games because games are corrupting our youth. And I was like, last time I
Not really.
checked, it's not, games aren't causing violence because let's be honest, what game did the Romans play? What games did the barbarians and Germanic tribes play back in the 500s that caused them to be so violent? Like
Right.
it's
Right.
it's dumb as shit.
It is crazy that they're targeting like GTA 5 specifically, a game that's been out for like 10 years, and they waited
Yeah,
until GTA 6 is about to come out. Like, oh no, we gotta ban GTA 5. Like,
yeah.
no,
I think
it's like you gotta ban like all these other games. And like, what about all these movies and TV series that come out that show all kind of bad shit that happens?
yeah.
Like, you want to
These
ban
are
those too?
these are the same lawmakers who are like, so Mr. Zuckerberg, what about these Twitter things? And it's like, Zuckerberg has nothing to do with Twitter. GTA has nothing to do with carjackings. It's
Right.
people who are down on their lucks because big business rapes their wallets, and then, like, the healthcare industry's out to kill people, and, there's just so many problems that we have in the United States, and we're scapegoating. That's what this is.
Yeah,
The fact
it's
that these
awful.
lawmakers even approach the subject of like banning GTA 5 makes me just think that these people, they need to retire, and they need to retire now.
Right.
We're so underrepresented as millennials here in government. It's crazy. And these
Right.
people who are running government, it's just a power, it's a power high. It's the same thing. I'm like actually looping back to what I was talking about earlier, reading Obama's book. He's talking about the same thing where, like, when he got into politics, it's all rigged system, and these lawmakers are just looking for something to pin the blame on. I'd be uh, you know I'd be surprised if we never hear anything like this ever again as soon as these boomers leave office, because they're so uneducated anymore. They're so
Right.
uncultured, unintelligent about things, and like they just
Yeah.
want to
They're also the
scapegoat.
ones that struggle to use a cell phone
Yeah,
or understand the
exactly.
internet.
They're like, these kids are, GTA is causing violence. And I'm like, no, your inability to use a cell phone or electronics is making me violent.
Right, right.
It's just,
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if that it goes any further than what it already did. I
no,
highly doubt it. It
yeah,
just
I'm
22.
hoping it got knocked down right as soon as it got proposed, because that shit's
Yeah,
stupid sounding.
yeah, I'm sure everybody was like, ha ha ha. What did?
Wait,
Okay,
what?
next.
What did you just say? What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
Because it's
next.
like, no,
Yeah, I
it
could
did give
imagine
me a
being in
chuckle.
the
I was in raid last night on WoW, and we were like, so what about that banning GTA in Chicago? And all of us just started laughing because we're like, they're fucking idiots.
right. Leave it
No,
up to the old fuckers.
yeah,
But
no, and
got a couple more things in the news here. So nothing too big here. But HP acquired HyperX for $245 million. It's a
mhm.
lot of money, but obviously it's not Xbox buying Bethesda kind of money.
Yeah,
But it's interesting to see HP. I think HP is trying to adapt to the market because HP doesn't really get into gaming. I know HyperX produces like peripherals, like
yeah.
controllers
Well,
and headsets and stuff like that.
think
So
about it.
I guess that's what they want to
Yeah,
expand their market.
think about it like this: the big war is Dell versus HP. Dell owns Alienware, so which honestly I don't even think anyone uses anymore. Alienware is like dead company, but HP is trying to keep up with these other companies like Dell, Acer, Asus. These companies that are making buku money because gaming is the thing. If you want money right now, the gaming industry is the biggest industry we can talk about. Like movies were the biggest industry between
Yeah,
1900 and 2000. Music was a big industry. Music was the industry as well as theater before the 1900s. It's the culture phenomenon, and they're trying to make money off of the cultural phenomenon, and that is video games aren't going away anytime soon. They're just going to advance at this point, adapt and
right.
evolve, And I think HP is trying to stay relevant, as you said.
Mhm.
They want to get into the market of peripherals because last time I checked, nobody's buying an HP keyboard like, check out my new gaming keyboard. It's from HP. It's like Hewlett Packard had its heyday, and it's trying to just stay relevant, I think.
The only time I ever think about HP is like printers half the time
Yeah,
anymore.
that's what they are anymore. They're the printer company, or like alongside Xerox and a few others. But like, that's their thing. They're not really
Right.
a company known for their state of the art computing.
Right. Well, at least they were smart enough to understand, like, hey, we might want to adapt with the market and expand our market
No,
as
I
well
agree.
because they they they're probably not going to go anywhere even if they didn't buy this, but they also probably weren't going to keep going up. They were
Yeah,
probably just going to stay stagnant. So this was definitely to help them to get out of a rut.
it's
For sure.
a potential for growth
Right, and I like
and
the
tapping
move.
a new
Like
market.
you said with the market, the gaming market is bigger than like movie, TV, and music combined.
Yeah.
It's insane, like how much money is involved in gaming.
The only
But
issue
I mean,
I
it's also easy too.
Yeah, and the only issue I worry about is like HP isn't known for its quality. And so, like, now HP may be inundating the market with new peripherals that are just cheap plastic garbage.
Right, right. We'll have to wait and see.
Mm,
But
but
just
no.
one more. I guess kind of one more gaming news, and then there was something else related. But this one's nothing too big. Star Wars Republic Commando is coming to Switch and the PS4. It's already on Xbox due to backwards
Got it.
compatibility, so you got that for free.
Yeah,
I feel bad for the Switch and PS4 people because you'll have to rebuy the game. Um,
but
like if you
like,
did already own it.
yeah, and to be honest, it's a 6-year old game or 8-year old game now,
Yeah,
like
it's
2012 or.
up there.
But so it's an older game. I'm not sure what made them decide to re-release it. Maybe it's because they're the new Switch game we're looking at here. At this
I
point,
agree.
they're releasing a new Gladiator game.
Yeah,
So
Star Wars Hunters.
yeah, the new sorry, I was reading chat. Star Wars
Yeah,
Hunters coming out here. Maybe it's just a hype up to a new Star
yeah.
Wars game is what's going on
All right.
here.
I think that they're filling in the gaps because I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see. What did they? Is Hunters coming out this year?
This year
I
or
can't
next year.
remember. Yeah,
It's either the end of this year or sometime before summer
'cause we
next year, I
might be in
think.
like a drought of Star Wars content, like game wise,
And I
because
think
like
it's just to help them hype up Star Wars on those consoles because traditionally I think Star Wars has ended up more on Xbox, I think, than PlayStation
it's on
and
both. Because
Nintendo.
like I remember owning a PS2 and having all the Star Wars games, or PS1. Because like
Yeah,
behind me,
yeah,
I still have
Battlefront,
like a bunch of
Star Wars
Star Wars games.
Battlefront and stuff. But I remember playing a lot of Star Wars games on like Xbox 360. I think was one where there were a few.
We even played a lot of Star Wars games on Nintendo or on the 64. Like we played
Yeah,
Pod
yeah, that's
Racer
true.
and
That's
we
true.
played the Battle of Naboo. We played Rogue
Starfighters.
Squadron.
Hmm.
Like there was a bunch of them that were on
Yeah,
Nintendo
so I
64.
think it's
So
just a game that was missed on those consoles, and maybe.
yeah, 16 years old
Oh
according
shit.
to
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's pretty old. It came
Yeah,
out '05,
2004, not 2014, 2004. Oh damn.
2005, I believe.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's that old. So
and the thing is, when they showed that trailer of them bringing it over, like,
hmm
yeah, did it look outdated? Yeah, but it's an '05 game. And the biggest thing though, I understand why they're doing it too. It's a whole movement in the gaming industry right now is game
hmm
perseverance or perseverance. Like
preservation.
preservation. Yes, sorry. They're because like you don't want like all these old games to just like disappear and like just
Hmm.
you want to be able to revisit those. That's why like Xbox is so huge on backwards compatibility and like all these new programs with auto HDR and boost FPS boost. Like they're trying to make those old games feel and play
Yeah,
really good.
they want to re-release things, make a little bit more money on things they've already made, and do it. You know,
Ride the nostalgia wave.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be in the nostalgia wave for a long time, and I think the future is going to be people having game libraries that are just huge because, people want to every so often you'll want to go back and play a game that you played 10, 15 years ago. That I
Right.
do it all the time. I have emulators on my computer, So,
Hmm.
but so no, it's interesting. I probably wouldn't end up playing it, but,
Yeah. I
it
actually don't remember playing that game in 2005, like two or even anywhere around that time frame. Fuck. 2005 when it came out. I was in 5th grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so I mean, I don't really remember that one too much. I mean, granted, I just rattled off all the games we played on N64, which is older than that.
Yeah.
But I think that was just a game that I missed out on. So it might be a game I check out because I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. I
Yeah.
love Star Wars. So I'm definitely probably gonna check it out, see if it's anything good. Like it seemed good. Like even watching the trailer, I was like, man, that story. Like I could feel the story in it, whether it looked great or not. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
No. But so moving on to our last kind of gaming news today. So the 3060 launched, and we tried to get in on the ground floor. So how did that go for you, Victor?
I cannot understand why it's so difficult to get a goddamn graphics card. Like,
Shit, dude, you can't even like to buy
you
a
can't even buy old
shitty
ones.
graphics card. We literally were talking about it during the wind up to the show today. To buy a shitty fucking graphics card that is half the power of one of these new ones, it's twice the price.
Right,
It,
four, five,
to
six
buy
hundred dollars
to
for
buy
a
a
terrible graphics.
2060 Super, which is the equivalent of the 3060, twice the price.
Was like almost double the price.
It's not double, but it's like $200 more to buy a 2060 Super. It's like
Right.
these people want to get rid of their stock, but they're like, big dick energy. We won't go low. And it's like,
Yeah.
why?
And it's all because of the scalping market right now. It's
dude,
because people are buying these
guy,
cards for free. Like the
guy
one that came out
literally
today.
had a 30. Somebody posted he bought 3 3060s before they were even launched. Like,
Right.
how is that legal? Like,
Because I remember them making such a big deal about like going to midnight releases. Oh, we can't give you the game at 12 o'clock. We have to give it to you at 12:01, or we're going to get in trouble. Like these motherfuckers got a whole
Yeah.
graphics card like a whole day early.
more
And
than a
three
day.
of them at that. Like, you should be. It tells you on the websites when you're buying these things, like one per customer.
Yeah.
Like it just blows my
Yeah.
mind. Like I've
So-
been trying to get into PC gaming, and I legitimately can't.
Yeah.
Any opportunity I have.
And these 3060s are supposed to be terrible for mining because they've throttled mining capabilities on them. And people were like, fuck it, I'm going to mine on it anyway. And it's like,
Yeah, and the same thing. You're probably 100% right on that. But I still believe that they're going to scalp it. They're going to buy it for $330, $380, and resell it for $1,000, and make hella bank off of that. And then guess what? When they re-release it again, when the next wave of them come out, they're going to be right back in line getting more of them.
yep.
And just never making it easy for us.
Yeah, and people are still going to buy these scalped cards, and it's fucking egregious.
Right.
People
and it
need to
sucks
stop
because-
buying scalped products. At this point, we need.
I just spent all this money building a computer, and I'm missing one part.
Yeah,
graphics
like
card.
the best thing I saw was I don't like Games Workshop for some of its business practices, but they did a launch for 9th edition Warhammer called the Indominus box. And everyone's like scalping the fucking shit out of the box. Like it went on sale and sold out within 20 minutes. So I bought 3, one for myself, one for my friend, and one for my other friend. And then one of my friends said they had one, so then I had an extra box, tried to sell it to another person. Because I got it for them without scalping it. I bought as many as I could to try and grab them before scalpers got them. But I saw scalpers who had 50 boxes of them, and they're trying to sell them for twice the price. And guess what Games Workshop does? They go, we're going to make it made to order, same price, you just have to wait 2 months. And the scalper's like, I have 50 boxes.
Yeah.
I paid $40,000.
But I am glad that they're definitely trying to
Mhm.
ban or like get these people or companies in trouble that are scalping. Like as soon as they find out, like, oh, you're reselling this for how much, and how many of them do you have? Oh, okay. And then
Yeah.
like because they're trying to make scalping like straight up illegal.
Yeah, and so
Like it should.
the prices are just the graphics manufacturers are like, oh, now we can do controlled scarcity. People are going to buy these cards for exorbitant amounts of money. Jack the price. That's honestly the next thing I see that's going to happen is price jacking. But I honestly respect the graphics card industry lately because they've not done that yet. It's surprising to me. The prices seem pretty reasonable lately. Like a 3060 for $300.
Yeah, it was a steal. I was on board with
bad.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
it was
too.
a
I
great
was like, that's
entry-level
awesome.
card.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a card that was going to fit all my needs.
Hmm.
It could do 1080p, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, it can do 1440p as well.
Oh yeah.
Um,
No, it
so,
definitely
and
can.
it was a card that was going to be around for a while. So like,
Yeah.
hopefully, I
It
can get
was
it on
gonna
the
be a
next
great
wave.
card. Yeah, no, it's the shits, and like I didn't realize they were releasing 3070s today too. So I was like, fuck. So I tried to grab onto the train late for that one, and I missed the 3070s, and I was like, shit's just crazy, dude. It's insane. It is
Right. Like,
literally insane how fast these things are going, and
like
I don't see this scarcity ending for another year.
yeah, it's going to suck. Like, I hope somehow I get lucky, like I did with the
Yeah,
Xbox. Like first day pre-order to go
yeah.
live. Yes, I got it. It's in my. All right, cool. It's ordered.
Yeah, and we
And then
even
it was
joined a list, a random drawing. Newegg was like, "Yeah, we have a random drawing for as many products as you want." And it's like, mark whatever you want, and we'll do a drawing for each of them. And it's like, okay. And I didn't, if there's 12 products, there were enough people that we both lost the drawing. I was like, Jesus Christ, shit went
yeah. Well, at least you
crazy.
got an email letting you know you lost. I didn't even get shit. They were
Yeah.
just like, "Hey, there's an advertisement for you, buddy." It's like,
Oh,
all right, cool.
thanks. Yeah.
That must mean I lost. Keep looking for other stuff.
Well, yeah, and honestly, did you check your junk? Because it could have been in
Yeah,
your
I'm
junk mail.
checking everything all
Yeah,
day. I was
it
trying to
was.
recheck websites and Twitter and just trying to figure out like, is there any other way I can get
No,
this thing?
so that was, that was terrible today. But
Yeah, I hate that this is going on in the gaming market, like both for the next gen consoles and for any new graphics card. It's just impossible.
hmm so,
It's sad.
but moving on from the 3060 sadness that happened today,
Yeah,
gaming rumors.
we can move on to our next topic here with the gaming rumors. These ones are pretty interesting, actually.
Yeah,
First up is Silent Hill, as we aforementioned earlier. Um, there's apparently two of them in the works.
two remakes.
I obviously not confirmed. Yeah, two reboots. One is by Bloober Team, who just came off creating the Medium, the only exclusive game on Series X. And then who was I forget who the other developer is speculated to be
hmm
making it, but I think it's one of the original developers that's supposed to be making it. So it it's cool to see that. I mean, it's a franchise. It's an iconic horror game
Yeah,
franchise that just
no.
disappeared out of nowhere.
Well, not disappeared. It's just they kind of ran their gambit, and they kind of were like, let's work on something else.
Right.
And so, you know, being as somebody who never got to play Silent Hill, mostly because it was what it was rated as a kid, my parents were like, "No, you can't have that."
Not
And
happening.
I was like, "All right, whatever." But like as an adult now, I'm like, "Yeah, I'd play like if they remade the game, it would be a whole new game." As like Tubi said before, whenever Tubi joins here, the essence of the game would be different, but it would be a new game, and I would play it. I would play it to see what the story of Silent Hill was, because the only thing I know about Silent Hill is Pyramid Head. So like I'd be
Right.
interested to play a rebooted version, like I did with the Resident Evil series. I little better. I can take horror games a little better, and I'm honestly excited. I hope these Silent Hill games do get made, because
Right.
I'd
Well,
be
because like
really excited to play them.
they were in the process of making one not too long ago where they had Norman Reedus was the main character
Hmm.
or in the game, which Norman Reedus is the
Yeah,
character in that played in Death Stranding and obviously one of the biggest characters of The Walking Dead. Um, so it's just like it was pretty cool to see him in that because like he does a phenomenal job of acting and I'm sure he can do it in video games. I've
yeah.
never played Death Stranding, but it seemed like that game for what it was reviewed relatively well because it
Walking
was a very
simulator.
confusing game. I heard it was a really
Yeah,
confusing,
I
weird
heard
game.
it actually didn't end up pretty well. I heard it was pretty big flop.
In the middle of the road, it was like 6 or 7, I think, out of 10, if I'm not mistaken. Like
Yeah.
it's not a bad game, but it's not a great game.
A
It's a
6 is
good
a
game.
pretty bad review, to be honest. Anything under a
Well,
6 is like nigh
a
unplayable.
7 is considered good, so
Yeah.
I don't know what the actual score was. But yeah, I'm definitely down. Like you said, I've actually never played any of the Silent Hill games. I just remember like seeing the trailers here and
Hmm.
there, and just it's always in the news. Like everyone's been speculating. Everyone wants this to come back. Like
Hmm.
bring it back. If the audience is there and really wants this game,
Yeah.
because I feel like horror games like there's not a lot of them, which is cool because like it's not an oversaturated market right now,
Yeah.
but it's also it's a market that's like lusting for more like they want these horror games again.
Yeah, and
Like
it's a
obviously with
survival
Resident
horror
Evil.
game too. It's not like, it's not like you're playing Resident Evil where you've got a gun too, so you can fight back. This is one of those games where you're kind of like, my gun is my flashlight. Click, 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 click.
Right, right. So I mean, there are a couple of those games out with was it Phasmophobia and then the
Yeah.
Outlast series. Those were both pretty solid series. So it'd be I'm excited to see Silent Hill come back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cult classic franchise. Honestly, it goes hand in hand with the gaming franchise. Like when you talk about different genres, and as soon as you mention horror games, it's Silent Hill.
Mhm.
It's usually Silent Hill and Resident Evil are usually the first two horror games that I think would come to mind.
Mhm.
But any other thoughts on that one at all?
Not really. Just I'd be interested to see it, and that's kind of what I was hoping to see today on the PlayStation stream. Like I was hoping
Right.
that, that's what I was hoping to see. Things like that, things like Final Fantasy VII. So I was kind of a little upset with the gaming news today. After PlayStation's
Yeah.
release, its hype trailer today.
Yeah. Yeah, their state of play that came out of nowhere. It was crazy too because I was watching or not watching. I was listening to um podcast Beyond, which is
Hmm.
the PlayStation podcast for IGN, and they were talking about obviously all the PlayStation news, and this was before they announced the state of play, and they were like, yeah, PlayStation. I mean, we're I forget what they were talking about, but they mentioned about they were like, yeah, watch, they're going to announce like a state of play like as soon as we're done, and it was just like that same day later on, they popped up like, hey, there's a state of play. I was like, imagine like either they
It's
knew
the
or like
time.
that's some crazy ass
It's
coincidence.
just the time of the year. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean we're still early and we're all eager for the see what the timeline is
Hmm.
for games because like we really most games are coming out between now and June,
Yeah.
maybe first week of July. The only one that we really have solid information, well, not even solid, is Halo. Halo Infinite is fall 2021.
Yeah.
We don't even know when that is.
But we're kind of still in that pandemic lifestyle, so I kind of cut a lot of people some slack because
Yeah,
things aren't running as they normally are.
right, right. Everything's gonna be feel a little different until everything can get it back to normal, at least close
Hmm.
to it. Because, like you said, even gaming production is obviously a little bit slower and more difficult to deal with because most people are trying to work from home and
Yeah.
having computers at home that can do that, like design games and
Well,
stuff. Probably
that's the
wasn't
thing. A
easy to
lot
get
of
a nice
people
setup.
took their whole rigs home, so like,
Right.
I've seen like Paradox at one point did a article about their production studios work from home setups in the early pandemic time, and it's like they had pictures of everyone in their department setups, and it's like they brought their work computer home and just like took up a part of their living room.
Yeah, that's crazy. But another gaming rumor this week. There was a Kojima's Productions, or is it yeah, Kojima's production mascot
Yeah.
was spotted in Phil Spencer's stream earlier this week, or was last week. And Phil Spencer's known to have cryptic messages or hidden things in his stream. Like before the Xbox Series S was announced, it was on his bookshelf behind him, and nobody noticed it. So like
Yeah.
it's eager to see like because I don't obviously the last game that was made by this was Death Stranding, aka the only game made by Kojima
So,
Productions because ever since their split with Konami, or his split with Konami,
well, no, no,
um,
not even his split. They just like were like, okay, see ya, and he's like, what?
yeah, it was like a
You're
clusterfuck.
firing me? Like,
Yeah,
you're gonna regret it. And they were like, nah. And I was like,
yeah,
yeah,
and then
you
every
are.
Metal Gear game after that flop.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Metal Gear just became Street Samurai, and I was like,
Right,
that's not Metal Gear.
right. But so I'm interested to see if this turns out to be anything. Like, is he bringing Death Stranding to Xbox? Was that wanted by the
Or,
community, or
or is
like a
it?
new project that's going to be
Yeah,
made
that's what I was
for
thinking.
it?
Maybe there's just a new project coming. But
Yeah,
after Death Stranding, I'm like, where are we going
the
next?
the game looks artistically appealing.
It's artistically appealing, but I just heard the gameplay was pretty
Yeah,
dumpsters.
yeah. It's because he has such a different and very creative and unique mind. Like his
His game,
creativity.
he wants the thing. It's like the banana taped to a wall. It's art, but is it really art? His thing is, it's a game, but is it really a game. Get what
Yeah,
I'm kind of going for here? It's
right.
his thing there was meant to be a piece of artwork as a game.
Hmm.
And if we look at the story of Metal Gear Solid, like the storyline and talking about Metal Gear as like just the actual story of the Metal Gear games, the story's just like what?
No, Metal Gear
It's
Story is very interesting because it
yeah,
kind of describes what's going on now.
yeah.
Honestly, a lot of it
But
that happened in that
what I
game is
mean, like, the game itself, sometimes the story is like there, and other times it's like, what did he mean by this? And you're like, I don't know.
he knew what was going on, but
Yeah,
for us to understand, I just feel like he makes his games very complex
he's like
and
one of
very complex.
yeah. I agree. It's like one of those books where you're in English class in high school, and they're like, what did the author mean? And you're like,
I don't know.
I don't know. I think
Like,
he meant this.
like, how did you understand that? Because I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, where did you get that from? Because I didn't get that. Oh, okay, maybe that passage meant that. It's like maybe that part of the story meant that. But no, maybe we'll see a new Kojima game get announced soon. When's the Xbox conference or Microsoft's conference?
It's speculated maybe in March.
Yeah, so maybe there's something coming up here, and that's what he was teasing.
Right. I'm excited to see Microsoft.
Yeah, me too.
Microsoft has
Because
so much stuff.
that's games for me to play too for PC
Right.
now.
There's
It's
just so much stuff that they're just I know they're holding on
Well,
to. Maybe
Microsoft's
that's what
huge
they're
now.
doing now.
Microsoft is literally a behemoth company that's just gonna they're
And
there to
and
make some money.
basically because the finalization of the purchase of Bethesda should be finished by sometime in March.
Yeah,
So then they can finally legally talk about what the plan is with them in all their games. So like they can come out like, hey, this game's going to be on Xbox only. This game's going to come to all consoles. Like they
yep.
can definitely go on all about that. But like this some other speculations in the industry is saying that Starfield, Bethesda's new game with Todd Howard, could come out this year. Bethesda is known to hey, this new game's coming out in 3 or 4 months,
Yeah,
and just come out of nowhere.
and
So I mean, like it'd be cool, and who knows, that game might be an exclusive to Xbox because it's a brand new IP.
yeah,
It's not like Elder Scrolls or whatever. Like it's not like a
yeah.
known one, but it'd be interesting to see what they truly announce.
No, I agree. It's gonna be definitely an interesting time, and maybe that's just he was giving us a cryptic message that we're gonna see a new Kojima game on Xbox now.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah,
Shit.
I'd be too.
Be pretty cool to see what he can come up with because he's super creative in it. If he gets backing by Microsoft, because like Microsoft has the financial stability, obviously,
Yeah,
and
he's gonna make
and,
the
and
Michael Bay films of video games.
right,
All
and like
explosions and
if you give him a team too to help make the games too, because I don't know how big his production crew is. Like
pretty
I don't
big.
think it's that big, but it'd be pretty cool to see what they can come up with.
Yeah. So so you mentioned this to me earlier this week. So there are Gears of War developers were supposedly on Halo Infinite because they put it on their LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, that was one of them, and apparently there's other developers other than the coalition developers
Uh-huh.
have like helped out 343 develop this game. I guess like if they had to request help from other developers, like how big is this game? How
Or my
ambitious is
follow
this
up is
project?
how bad is 343? Because like
Right,
honestly, I'm surprised that they don't already have enough people to make the game. What's going wrong that they had to request help? Or why were these other people working on it? Maybe it is just a huge game, and I really hope it's just not an open world slosh fest.
right. I mean, they just actually before I got on stream, I seen that they Halo released 4 screenshots of the game, and
Hmm.
to me, the game just looks beautiful. I
Hmm.
don't care. Like Halo always looked really nice, even like playing the Halo One remastered when you can press the select
Yeah.
button and
Well,
switch between graphics, and you're like, whoa,
and that brings me back to my same thing I always say though. You can polish a turd, but it's still a
right,
turd. So like, we can spit shine the hell out of this game. It can look fucking beautiful,
yeah,
but I'm not playing. I'm not here for a movie. I'm playing a video game that has to be good.
right,
So the
yeah, because
quality of
like
gameplay is what I'm worried about.
right, because look at Halo 5. Halo 5 was a really beautiful game, but you said you'd never played it, but Halo 5
Played a
was
little
really
bit, yeah,
beautiful.
with you for but
But the gameplay was and the story was
dumpsters.
just like mm.
Yeah, the story started out as a giant dumpster fire, and I didn't see it getting put out anytime soon.
Right. So I mean, like, I just hope, I
Yeah,
really hope that Infinite is going to be a good game.
yeah.
But
It
going back
may
to the
just be
topic
the
though.
nail in the coffin for what is Halo too. So
I really hope not, because
I
they don't just put Master Chief on the inside of your Xbox for no reason, for something to have a nail in the coffin anytime soon.
well, I
This is a
mean,
franchise
I mean,
that's
if
here to
this
stay for a
game
while.
flops big enough, you know.
If it flops, I think 343's out. I don't think Microsoft's going to give up
Yeah,
on Halo.
I
I
don't
think
think.
343's
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I kind of agree with that. If it flops 343, hopefully it flops so 343's out because their games have been pretty garbage actually.
Right, because any of their games that they have produced have been like,
Yeah,
hmm, Halo 4 was probably their best one that they've made.
yeah, and they don't have to be about Master Chief. They could literally extrapolate on so many different things.
There's so much source material. There's new novels in Halo every month, or not every month, like at least every year.
Yeah,
There's more
and
novels being
and
made.
like we could play Covenant stories, all we want. We could play literally through Forerunners. They could literally explore Forerunners, dealing with the Flood. We could literally talk about so many different things. Halo has always been there. Yeah, exactly. Encounter design, good maps, and fun weapons. Halo's always been that, and I think Halo Infinite, the way it looks and the way we're talking about it, I'm just scared that their goals are here, and then we've got Ubisoft style development here. Copy
Right.
paste. Like, Halo had those big moments where nothing was copy pasted. Like and when it was a completely different thing. Like walking through a level and then having to reverse your way back through that level, they completely changed what's going on and it rewrote how the story played out. Like,
Right.
oh shit, we just let the flood out. Now backtrack through levels you've been through and you're like, "Oh fuck.
But
Everything's on
you gotta
fire
get
now."
back to that level in a different way. Like you
Yeah.
don't take the same door. You
Yeah.
got to go find a different way.
Yeah, exactly. Like the time you go to get the key to unlock the Halo itself, and you get there and you meet Guilty Spark, and then when you go back, or sorry, you get the key, you find Guilty Spark, you come back after the Flood gets released, and he's like, "No, this is a control panel to turn on the weapon," and you're like, "What?" And then you go back through that whole level dealing with both the Covenant and the Flood, like.
Right.
So good encounter designs in Halo 1, 2, 3. ODST, for example. It was literally a choose your own adventure detective game with guns.
Right. No, and ODST was just visually appealing.
Yeah,
It was a lot of fun, and then with fire, was it firefight or fire team? Firefight.
yeah,
That was a fun thing too,
yeah.
because that was in the early stages where like
And
Gears had,
Firefight wasn't like it wasn't like it was like they took Call of Duty Zombies and said, okay, let's do it with Halo encounters, but let's not make it a base defend on like a permanent timer. Let's give you a set amount of things and just give you a difficulty, and you just have to survive until the
right.
end. No, I liked that. It was like there was a clear goal, and it wasn't like just trying to say how long you survived. It was survive for this long and you win.
ODST is a game that I think I have only two achievements left I gotta get, and they're with like two of the firefight maps where you had to get like a certain score
Yeah,
on it, and we were progressively going through it, and then like we just stopped playing it
yeah,
after a certain
and
point and just
and
never
like
revisit.
there are, these great games that Bungie did, and then 343 is like, all right,
How can we fuck it up?
how can we fuck this up? And like even, Reach was still good. Reach was a
Reach
great
was
game.
amazing.
Yeah, like it was a great game, but it added some things that were a little questionable. And then 343 is like superpowers, and I was like, no,
Like
we don't
here,
need these. We have grenades and we have guns. Those are all you need. Grenades, guns, and vehicles. That's all Halo
if
needed. And then they're like,
not,
let's just keep making it complex, add new features. It's like WoW. It's like World of Warcraft. Every expansion, they write something new, and then they scrap it the next game.
damn, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh, here's a new system for progressing through the game, and it's gone. Let's rewrite a whole new system. And that's what it feels like Halo's been doing lately. They're like, we need to make it new and improved and interesting. I'm like, no.
yeah. Just stick to
Stick to the
Halo was
formula,
known for.
and it works. You don't need to add stuff. You're not losing the player base. Adding stuff is losing the player base.
Right, making shitty games is losing the player base. Obviously, I mean, multiplayer has been good. I mean, Halo 5's multiplayer has been pretty steady. It seems, But
I didn't think it was that big, was it?
yeah,
Okay.
the support for it was great. The both from the develop 343 made a lot of content for it. People were playing it a lot. Like it was still in
Hmm.
professional as well. So like the player base is still there for multiplayer, but the
Yeah.
story is where it's just like the campaign is just where it's just like, what are y'all
Uh-huh.
doing? And then the marketing was terrible. They were marketing five as like, oh, we're about to see this crazy battle, and Master Chief went rogue, like Master Chief's the bad guy, and you played like first mission, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, cool, never mind.
Yeah.
But one more topic here in the gaming rumors is which I find appealing is even though not for you because you're not a console gamer, but
Yeah.
EA has a patent that could potentially get rid of like waiting time for game installations. Like,
Yeah.
what
And this
happened to
is
the good old days of like input the disc? All right, cool. Let me load it up and play. Now I gotta go home, install the whole game from the disc, update the game, and by the time I play it, say I pick the game up at midnight. I ain't playing the game until like 3 a.m.
mhm.
By the time it's all done and installed,
Yeah.
like it sucks. I just want to be able
Well,
to play the game.
that's the thing. That's something you deal with as being a console peasant versus, PC master race. Look at World of Warcraft. They've been doing this for over 10 years now. You
Right,
literally you buy the game or you install the game, and as soon as it starts it goes, "Okay, let me load the content you need now." And it literally just loads all the stuff you need to start the game, and then it says, "Now I'll load the assets for everything you're not going to use for a while."
right.
And then if
Well,
you
well,
get
it's like
close to using those, it starts popping those in.
yeah, Xbox kind of has like a feature like that. Like when you're installing a game, it'll like
Yeah.
pop up like midway and it'll be like ready to start. And then like say it's a sports game, like you can play like the demo or like
Yeah.
the like a pickup game or something like that. Like some of the story mode
Yeah.
like games, you can play like certain parts of the game. Like you
Yeah.
won't be able to play like, multiplayer or whatever
Yeah.
right away.
Well, that's the
Um,
thing. If they do it right, it's just targeted installs. It says you go into a menu and say this is what I want to play, and it loads all the assets for that part of the content. That's something the gaming industry has been doing for a while. Preloading the game. That's something the gaming industry has been doing for a long time on PC. It's
right,
just an evolution of pre-installing the game. It's installing as you play because you don't need
right.
every asset. It's learning to choose what assets you need.
The pre-installation is nice because like obviously it makes sense that you can't play the game, so you might as
Yeah.
well download the game. But like it's like say the game comes out a year ago, now you finally pick up the game. It's just
Yeah.
like damn, now I just bought the game. Now I
Now I
gotta
have to wait
wait.
for it to install. And
Right.
with and with gaming going to a diskless format, that's where we are
Right.
now. Because
Right. Yeah. And you can
that's
see I have a massive collection behind me, and I have not bought a physical disc for the
yeah.
next gen console.
And
And it sucks for me
yeah,
because I love collecting the cases. Like fuck, if I could just buy the case and have the game digitally, I'd be happy.
it,
Because I hate having to
it's
switch discs and stuff. Like the only game that I think I have technically next gen is 2K because like I thought if I bought the Xbox One version, I got the digital copy of the Series X version, and I still have to put in the disc from the Xbox One to play the digital copy of the Series X version.
okay.
Stupid.
Yeah.
And
It's
I thought the same thing with Madden. Nope, still got to put the disc in.
yeah. No, I do agree. It's one of those things right now where this could be a net improvement for consoles, but it's just the name of the game with being a console peasant. They're behind the times. They have to make it, you know, they do a lot of things late because
Right,
they have to adopt it for wide format. Whereas, like, developers on PC, people making things on PC, you're only limited by the OS of the PC, not the OS of the console. And the console OSs are a lot more dumbed down. There's a lot
right,
less usability to it. So, like, this would be a really cool thing, honestly, if EA gets it done.
right. Because it could be industry changing. Because like if EA is able to do this, and then everybody else is able to do it. I mean, I don't know how the patent works. Like I don't know how you can put a patent on something that like the entire industry needs to have.
Well, it's just for their games, their version of it, how they do it, whatever. But like,
Right.
you know, World of Warcraft has already been doing this. So is this patent gonna conflict with that? Like, I was confused as well when you sent the article, and I was like, a patent?
Right.
That's
It'd
what
be
code.
interesting.
That's what private code's about. Like, you wrote your code, don't give it away. Like, it's that easy.
Right. So yeah, I'm eager to see that because I definitely I
But
get
yeah,
impatient like when I want to just play the game right away. I like most new games I just pre-install before they
Yeah,
come out anyway because I buy them ahead of time. But there are games
yeah,
where I buy later when they're on sale or something, and it's just like, all right, cool. I gotta wait a few hours and then I'll be able to play it. And
yep,
then like when that's happening, like I can play another game, but it slows the installation down.
yeah.
So it's just like then I don't even want to play the game. I gotta go find something else to do, and it's just like it doesn't make the process easier,
No, it doesn't.
easy at all.
It's definitely going to be an interesting prospect if and when it happens.
Right, right.
But
All right, man.
moving
So,
on from gaming news and stuff, world news. We had a topic that we wanted to talk about with our new co-host, who wasn't able to make it yet again today. But the winter storms, how did they affect you, Vic?
um, they didn't really affect me at all personally, but they affected me in a different way. Like seeing the infrastructure of just say our country is just like if this is not another example of how poorly our systems are in place. Like
Well,
when we think about it, when the pandemic hit, everything was just fucked up. No one knew how to handle it. Winter storm hits. Yeah, Texas doesn't get snow once every 20 years, especially this kind of snow. So like I can understand it, but like you should still be prepared. We
that's
all know that
that's the thing.
climate change is
Yeah.
happening.
Well, that's the thing. Texas wasn't prepared for this because all of Texas's infrastructure is on its own grid. Texas is a completely self-sufficient grid. It does not connect to any other state, meaning they are all by themselves, and on top of that, they're privatized. So the industry, it doesn't care about the people. It cares about its bottom line and the 5% growth a year that businesses strive for. So what happens is, why do I need to modernize? Yeah,
Self-sufficient and quote.
exactly. It's self-sufficient. It, the modernization they don't need to worry about because why update? Why fix what ain't broken is the idea. And because they
Right.
do this, they're not subject to the same restrictions that other states are from governments. Like the federal government mandates X for a grid that is a part of the national grid. Texas being its own grid, they don't have to do the cold weather modernization. They don't have to do this because they're not a part of the federal government's regulation on it. So,
Right.
it just goes
Want
to
to hear a good
show how poor, when people say, it breeds innovation to have privatization, it doesn't if you're a monopoly. And this is a monopoly. That's the thing. We're talking about companies here that don't have competition. It's not like Roger can go down to Texas and open up Roger's Electric Shack and produce his own electric. It would take multi-billion dollars to get started making your own electric in Texas, and then to make money back in time. It it's the business isn't there. So, like I say with other things, why privatize necessities? This is
right.
a necessity. This is, you know, we're way past society being shelter, food. Sustenance and shelter aren't your only needs anymore. We've got social needs now. We're a society big enough where humans are social creatures, and we don't live in these hunter-gatherer societies anymore where social isn't a problem. We live in a modern society where people don't really get to relate with the people they enjoy anymore. We get, electric is a necessity now. To live without electric is your own choice, but electric is a basic necessity anymore in life. You
Right.
can't really do much without electric anymore. You have to then, because without electric, you have gas, but then usually gas powered stuff generates electric.
Right.
People who don't have electric have generators to produce electric. Go figure.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's crazy.
no,
You want to hear a good conspiracy that I heard?
what?
All right. So, mind you, yes, this came from TikTok, but TikTok has a lot of great conspiracies. So, you know how Texas wants to pull out of the United States, like it wants to be its
Seed from the
own.
Union, yes.
Yes. So,
They want to be the
basically,
Republic of Texas.
yes. So they want to be their own thing. So apparently, maybe you heard about it, HARP.
Yeah,
Apparently, there's this conspiracy thing where the United States has this like technology to manipulate weather. So
I've
they
heard of it.
basically made it cold and snowy down there in Texas so that it made everybody in Texas realize, damn, we still need the United States government to take care of us.
Honestly, if
And I was just
Tex,
like,
you know,
damn, that's crazy.
honestly, if Texas just like broke off and floated into the Gulf, what am I losing? Ted Cruz? Oh no, I've lost Ted Cruz and his followers. Texas is one of those states where it's slowly turning blue, but there's too much land mass for it not to be, for it to turn blue. There's a lot of people down there that are just, they're, these hard Republican values that are just so out of touch with other people. Obligatory, Ted Cruz is a piece of shit. Um,
Right.
and like, did you hear
One day
Ted?
was really trying to
Yeah,
go down to Mexico on
he was
vacation.
like, I'm going with my daughters to, with them on vacation. Turns out Ted Cruz was actually going with his best bud. His best friend was on the vacation to see his kids with him. And I was like, where are you going to see your kids? So it was, the douchebag is just a lying piece of shit. And honestly, if he died, the world would be better off. So,
Right.
we're dealing with Ted Cruz, this piece of shit, who lobbies for things like keeping the government out of electric, for example. And then the follow up is, look at what they complained about. Fox News, their talking point last week and the week before was AOC, Green New Deal, AOC, Green New Deal, because the 10% of electric generated in Texas is green energy. It's wind turbines. And they froze because they didn't weatherize them like the other 90% was also not weatherized. Nothing in Texas was weatherized. So
Right.
it wasn't ready for this freezing temperature, so it all stopped. It didn't matter
Right.
what power it was. They didn't, because guess what? Newsflash, Germany has an entire electric farm in the far north, in their ocean, near Denmark. Like, it's cold over there. Why doesn't it freeze? Because they actually know how to make shit. Like, so, this whole weather storm thing, yeah, it was a little bit of trouble here and there, but like, I watch people who are like, tires in Texas aren't weatherized. Are we going to just start fighting tire existence now? Look, because of these didn't work in snow, tires are bad. We can't have tires. No, you didn't prepare for a storm that is a once in it's a once in every 20 years situation. Not to mention
Right.
that the entire
But the thing is, we may
infrastructure.
see this more often now because obviously,
Yeah.
climate change is happening one way or another, whether we want to think it's real or if it's a hoax or not, whatever your belief is on it. Like, because Trump, oh, it's a hoax. This is all China. No, it's a real thing. It's happening.
Yeah, and I don't care what you say. Climate change is a real thing. You're not. It's happening. If you don't want to believe it, guess what?
It happened before. It's going to happen again.
Yeah, and we're only exacerbating the issue. So like the whole winter storm thing, it sucked here a little bit. It snowed, and then we cleaned it all up. And as soon as I got it cleaned up, within 2 days, it snowed again. Then I got it
Right.
cleaned up. Then it snowed again, and I was like, "Holy God, stop!"
Right. The
So,
only thing that we were dealing with, it was like kind of like cold, I guess. So it was like
mhm.
30s, 40s. But it was like raining like every day for a
Yeah.
week straight, just rain. And I'm just like, can we just get some sunshine? This is awful.
Yep.
And then like out of nowhere, we get these 85-degree days, and I'm just like, this is what
Yeah,
I
well,
wanted.
today was 45. I walked out in a sweatshirt and I was like, "Oh, it's so nice. I love this."
Yeah, it was nice
Spring
outside.
started.
But from watching videos and looking at pictures, man, like it was sad. Like it was heartbreaking to see the people,
Yeah.
like other people struggle this. Like it was not funny to see this, but it was funny. Like the chick, I don't know where she was. She was in a parking garage, and then like parking garage is empty, but like her car pipes above it somehow just broke
Yep.
because of how cold it
Her
was,
whole
and
car was just
the whole car was just covered in frozen water now
She,
because of the pipes broke.
yeah, she couldn't get into her car because of it.
Right. And now I'm wondering, like, is her car totaled? Like who, like, just the little stuff
Yeah.
like that, or just like the grocery stores, like people going to the grocery store. It's hard to already go to the grocery store in a pandemic.
And you know what's crazy about this winter storm? Thousands of people died because private industry, yet again, didn't do the right thing. So it just
Right.
goes to show how poor and pathetic we are as a country. Our index right now for like quality of life, the United States is under 30. We're in the 30s now, I think, for quality of life. You know, things from, education to access to internet to infrastructure. Just we're falling. As a first world country, we boomed. We were the leaders, and you know what? I'm proud to be an American, but we're
We're fucking up.
we're we're the fuck ups of the world right now. You know, we're gonna let China eclipse us. That's sad. If we make Russia, like Russia is almost tied with us on quality of life on the
Yeah, it's
scale.
pretty bad.
They're in the
Right.
40s. They're right behind us. How are
Right.
we, you know, how are we doing so bad as a country that, we let thousands of people die avoidable deaths? And we're not even talking about COVID. We're just talking about the electric grid failure in Texas. And these people are
Right.
like, "Oh, we're doing all this stuff." And I'm like, "You know what? The follow-up is these Texans voted these politicians in, so they got what they deserves too.
Yeah, maybe they'll wake up next election
Maybe
like,
next
"What?
election they'll wake up and go,
Remember
privatization
so
and
close?"
Republicans aren't right. But no, they're brainless idiots who are drones half the time. So I'm sorry, but like, if you watch this and you like, oh, I lost somebody I loved, I'm like, if you're still gonna vote Republican, maybe there is a reason why. And it's called,
Right.
people. And my favorite thing is these Republican people, these conservatives are like, huh, look, natural selection. I was like, yeah, and it got you. It's
Right.
not
Right.
killing. It's not killing the liberals. Natural selection isn't killing the liberals the same way it kills the conservatives.
Right.
Yeah,
And this it didn't even just snow in Texas. Like it snowed over in Saudi Arabia. That
yeah,
was just
yeah. Camels. We're sitting
crazy.
out there like, what the fuck is this white stuff? Like, I get at night that it gets cold, but it
Right.
doesn't get that cold. Like, it gets cold enough to freeze, but they don't get humidity is the thing. It got so cold, it rained and then snowed.
Right. Right. It was crazy to see. Like I was watching the videos and stuff, and it's just like it's nighttime and it's snowing, and the camels are literally just sitting there, just like, uh, what is going on? Like
What
it
is
was
this
really
shit?
like,
Yep.
it was confusing me to see it because like it's a desert, it's
It was like
camels, like
the day
it's hot
after
and
tomorrow
dry.
kind of shit coming up. You know,
Right.
it's like it felt a little horrifying for this winter storm that hit us because it was almost like one of those. Wow, this is like the premise to one of those apocalypse movies.
Right.
So
Yeah, the day after tomorrow is a great
and
example
and
of
and
that.
you know what? Look at the failure that happened because of we weren't prepared. And all these other states are prepared for this shit. Texas, like for example, I was in London and when it snowed an inch and they shut down London.
That's how it would be here if it ever snowed here.
Yeah,
It shuts down everything.
if it snows
Everything.
an inch here, people are like, "We're not even sending the salt trucks out. Get out there!" It's like, "Welcome to Pennsylvania." you know, I
Yeah, crazy.
it doesn't snow as much as places like Michigan or Minnesota or North
Yeah, we're
Dakota.
gonna get a foot of
But it's
snow every
still
single time.
it's still New England. Close enough to New England area that we're like, yeah, snow, whatever, cool, we have it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But
But
moving
yeah,
on to a little more lighter news, I guess.
right, yeah, yeah. Because I think we'll revisit the winter snow just a little bit to get someone else's experience next week, hopefully. Um, but yeah, next one is pretty cool, exciting actually. Is NASCAR has their first Arab American female driver. What's your thoughts on that?
It's Arab.
Arab, whatever.
Arab.
Arab.
That's actually more of a slur, but like Arab. No, it's cool to see a first Arab American driver, and for her to be a female is pretty interesting because NASCAR's always been one of those man sports, and also it's just a wasteful sport to begin with. But
Hey,
like
another return.
you know, another left turn. Now, mind you, there are NASCAR courses that aren't just the oval,
Right.
but
Yeah.
that is the biggest thing. And it's really interesting to see that, it's an American sport and we are an inclusive country. To see somebody like that be able to join means, we're not we're not all racist. It's actually to me NASCAR is one of those hard right topics. It feels like it's the thing that draws in the hard right. It is these people who don't down with the government because NASCAR is born out of the moonshining running era, and
Right.
to see that we're inclusive enough to include somebody like that, and they didn't like kick her out or like try to bar her entrance somehow. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
making a left turn at 280 miles per hour. Yeah, it's probably difficult, even though they don't go that fast. But yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. It's but it's still what I was getting at is it's a wasteful sport, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I would rather see an actual course drive than
Right. Like the F1 races, or like the ones that are in
Formula. Yeah,
like
Formula
Forza,
One
all those
or
tracks.
yeah, actual. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I agree.
No, but
I agree. They're fucking psychos. But
but no, I did. I'm excited to see this because in NASCAR there was only one other notable female driver, and that was Danica Patrick, and that was huge when she became
yeah,
a driver too. But like, what makes it crazier is like her being Arab American. Like, she's the first Arab
yeah.
to do it, and so I mean, it's
And
exciting to
we're
see that.
definitely very biased against the Middle East, but to allow a Middle Eastern
Yeah,
somebody of Middle Eastern descent to join is
right. It's
awesome.
exciting, and in on my last episode of the talk show, me and Madeline were talking about like the state of women in 2021,
Yeah,
and this wasn't even on there because it happened after the show, and it's just like this is just another example of like women are progressively being more involved in more things.
yeah,
Like watching Kamala Harris become the first female vice president was like insanely great to see because like it gives young
yeah,
women or kids role models to look up like
yeah.
this is possible.
Like she didn't have to get selected, but I was because there were a lot of great candidates on the Democratic ticket. Don't get me wrong, but for
Right.
Biden to say, let's grab Kamala means we have now an icon, as you said, for women. It's we chose it not just because we could, but to make a statement to the conservative base saying women aren't like you look at the Proud Boys, for example. The Proud Boys accentuate that the role of a woman is to be at home, to get pregnant, and to cook and clean. That's
Right.
their tenets, and it's like that's
It's not gonna
fucked
work.
up. Like that's
Right.
not right. Like at this point, and it's just so crazy how bigoted we can be, and it's just great to see somebody like her being able to do that, or the fact that the Democrats are saying enough is enough. Yeah, we have a wage gap, but let me show you that even if you're a woman, you can do anything you want. Because like
Right.
the
Yeah,
industry,
'cause, yeah, that's another thing
you
we
know,
talked about on that talk show was about the wage gap. Like the guy and the woman do the same exact job, but the guy gets paid like double her pay. Like it just
yeah,
blows my mind why that's even a thing. But
hmm
hopefully that gets fixed. And I mean, they just got to keep this momentum going with the women movement. Like it's
yeah,
working.
I agree.
It's clearly working.
And
But
so, but the Mars rover is the next topic here. So
I,
Perseverance finally landed.
I love anything space related.
I'm afraid to death of space. Don't get me wrong. Like if Mars
Mm,
travel becomes a thing before we're, like Mars, like if we get a colony on Mars by 2030 or whatever,
yeah.
and eventually we have space travel to and from Mars.
Hmm.
I, ain't
You
ain't
don't know if
something.
you would do it.
Oh, I know I wouldn't do it. I would never go into outer space
Oh, okay. Yeah, if I had the chance, I'd go.
because you can
I
survive a
just have,
plane crash. You can't survive a decompression in space.
yeah.
So
Right. Everyone would just have to have their own. I mean, everyone would have a spacesuit on at least. So
yeah, so it's one of those things. It's like I space scares me. I'm fine with my feet firmly planted on Earth or in at least air. I don't mind being in a plane either, but like it's cool though to finally see that we have another rover on Mars.
yeah, the
It's
only planet
impressive
that's
how
completely inhabited by robots.
yeah.
I
But
love it.
and the follow
But
up is, did you see how long the journey is going to be?
which
So
one?
the Mars, the new one,
Oh, yeah,
Perseverance's journey.
Perseverance. Yeah.
It's supposed to be a
It's like
10-year
2 years.
journey.
Oh, is it? I think
Like,
because I know they outlined the first 2 years as like searching that
yep,
crater that dried up lake or whatever,
for
for
signs of
like
life.
ancient life.
Yeah,
So it's been cool to see the pictures and the videos have been coming back because like
yeah,
it's damn near watching 4K visuals.
yeah,
Like it's crazy to see the quality just between this rover and the last rover that was just landed there not too long ago
yeah,
as well. Like that was like 2 or 3 years ago for that one, and it's just like this is dope. But again, let me circle back to another conspiracy that apparently there's this part up in Antarctica or something like that that has like Mars esque environment, and then everything that's been going on in space is all a lie, and then they just been filming this up there and making it look real. Like it just blows my mind to think like would our government would they really do some shady shit like that? Yeah, they probably would, but
But
in the same sense, it's like I personally love believing in space,
but the
so
the
I
my
personally like
follow up to that is it's all psycho mumbo jumbo like flat
yeah,
earthers. Let's get it straight. Like we have been to space. We have been to the moon. For
right,
somebody to keep it silent for this many years would literally be impossible.
right. Yeah, even now, like people think landing on the moon was a hoax and stuff like that. Like, I don't think so.
No.
I think it was legit.
Yeah, I agree. And, so
But it's just like one of those things that are like
and
hard to like
and the thing
think is
is, you
real.
can prove that we have been to the moon and put stuff on the moon because you can build a telescopic device that will ping against the device on the moon and ping back to you if you really
Right.
wanted to. Yeah, Bill Clinton couldn't even get a blowy in the White House without the whole world finding out. Exactly.
Right. Yeah,
How
exactly.
easily do you think it would be for, two astronauts and, an entire team of people to keep this hush hush?
Right. It would slip eventually.
Yeah.
If it was, yeah. But another thing that you brought up this week was new plant-based plastic. That seems really interesting because we were talking about
Yeah.
like if we have to move to Mars, like obviously people are thinking about moving to another planet because we're destroying our own. This could
Well,
potentially
that's the
help
thing.
us
We
here.
can save Earth. We're not,
Yeah,
Earth is easily savable. It's just going to take a while. But
yeah,
this is the next step in the right direction. A almost 100% recyclable plastic is insane. It literally means that instead of having to make fossil fuels now, we can leave the Earth alone. We don't have to mine it anymore. It's the first step in being able to make Earth into a resort planet, not a mining place. Because that's the thing. When we become a spacefaring race, there's a discussion of is Earth what becomes of the planets we hit. Like asteroids will become what we mine. Other planets will become what we mine. Earth will be our natural homeworld, and we will want to preserve it. Ideally, that would
right,
be the ideal situation over the existence of humanity as long as it exists. And so we can save Earth and we can restore Earth to what it once was. We just need to get the whole world on the same page. And having a plant based plastic that is 100% recyclable is huge. Because that means
right,
we've turned something 100% organic into something that we can use to further build what we need to survive. That means we
right,
can make plastic on Mars without having to need fossil fuels. That means we can literally grow our living environment
right.
with and then
Yeah,
be able to mine and bring ores and other things into it as well.
right. No, yeah, it's definitely exciting to see that because like obviously our world is completely polluted with plastic, especially like in our oceans and stuff.
Yeah,
And if it's plant-based, I'm sure it'll be super biodegradable, so
yeah,
it'll unlike plastic where it takes like thousands of years for it to disappear or whatever it is, like
yeah.
I forget what
And
it
not
takes.
only that, there's also in Africa a new factory that was just founded by a woman. A woman, mind you, had created this new
Yeah.
idea for recycled plastic bricks. Bricks made entirely of recycled plastic. So it doesn't matter what plastic it is, they shred it up, they compact it, and it's more durable and better quality than a real brick. Because real
Right.
bricks shatter and break and crumble. These do not.
Hmm.
These are they're more permanent. So it allows us to get rid of all these plastics and turn them into things to build homes.
Yeah, instead of trying to burn them and stuff.
Exactly. So we don't pollute anymore. We don't, we cut down pollution by making our homes out of the things we would have polluted with. So
Right.
it turns
No,
single use plastics into multi use.
right. I mean, that's good for sure. I mean, I know like a lot of companies, even like plastic bottles, like some of these are recycled plastics to make bottles again. So
Yeah.
at least some companies are trying to go towards like let's recycle this and reuse it any
Yeah.
way we can.
But, the whole recycling thing, and there's a whole channel on YouTube I watch about this, but, like, it's all a giant myth. The recycle symbol that we call the recycle symbol and stuff isn't a recycle symbol. It's the plastic industry's way of trying to convince us that they recycle. It was all made up by the plastic industry to convince us
Right.
that they were recycling, that it was
Right.
safe,
Just to sell more
because
of it.
they knew plastic isn't a sustainable business model. They knew when they invented plastic, the day they invented, they're like, this is not sustainable, but we
Right.
can make buku money off of it.
And it's still thriving, unfortunately.
Yeah, sadly, but that's the world we live in.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm just glad we're moving towards better things, and like you said, this Earth's going to heal and get better, and we just got to keep
Well,
progressing.
it isn't going
in
to
the right
heal
direction.
unless we work to do it ourselves. Because at this point, we have to get humanity on the same page, and if we
Right.
don't, it's not going to. We
So because
deforest. You know,
yeah,
the big
because Earth, one way or another, Earth is still going to be here with or without us. So
yeah
if we keep destroying it, Earth is just going to get to a point where, all right, cool, I'm no longer habitable. Go ahead and die, and then I'll just heal.
yeah
Like Earth
the
is
Earth will be able to go through another cycle or two before the heat death of our solar system.
right. Yeah, it'll be a long time,
You know,
but
millions of lifetimes, billions of lifetimes over for us. The Earth will
right.
survive if we die off. The Earth will crumble. All of our, humankind, they say, will the traces of humanity will disappear from the face of the Earth within a few thousand years, easily.
Mhm. Yeah,
And then the Earth will retake itself, and new life forms will come about. You know.
right. Makes you wonder about the the ancient Egyptians and so all that other stuff. And that's another topic for another day. Like that ancient civilization that may have had technology way better than ours, that maybe got wiped out by a natural disaster too. And but
There's
who knows?
there's all these silly things, but we don't have evidence of it really.
Yeah.
So,
But like you said, all the evidence may have got destroyed or wiped away
well,
because
and that's yeah. But fossils do exist for a reason. We can find this stuff underground. But
yeah,
no, it's definitely interesting to see that renewables, actual renewables, are a thing. People are always working to invent new renewables. Are we going to see them, or are they going to be killed by plastic industries? That's the thing. Are these people going to sell out to big business?
right. Yeah, now it's a waiting game to see if everyone starts to adapt this new plant-based plastic. So I hope it is. Seems like everybody's on board. Well, not everybody, but a majority of the
Our
people are on board.
generation is on board. So when we can finally extinguish the boomers from power, it gives us a chance to decide: do we want to, as a generation, do we care about Earth, or do we care about profits? Do we care about
Right,
this fake idea that money is happiness? Money can buy
right,
happiness. It can buy the things that make you happy, but intrinsically, is it making happiness? Is money happiness? No.
right. Oh yeah, I agree. But let's move on to our last news here. This was kind of almost like deja vu, heartbreaking, but turned out to not be as bad. But Tiger Woods was in a pretty bad car accident, single car accident. The rumor saying that he was leaving a parking lot and got irritated or agitated or something like that, so he sped off. So it's speculated that he crashed due to speeding, but he's not being charged with anything. He wasn't drunk or anything. It was they're calling it a pure accident. So like, I'm just happy he's okay because I thought this was about to be Kobe Bryant 2.0. Honestly,
Well, the dude
like you
can't
said,
catch a break, but then again, the dude also, you know, he he makes his bed too. You know.
yeah, sometimes, but he's been on the upwards trend for
Yeah, yeah.
a long time
He
now.
was kind of pulling his shit together, but like he also was the one who fought with his wife as well. He caused the
Yeah,
fights at home. So and he wasn't giving it his all in the sport, and that's why he fell out of favor for a while there. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm
I mean,
glad to see
he
him
had that
actually take it seriously again and want to make a comeback. It's cool to see him win, but
right. Yeah, it was sad because like he just came off like a major back problem
mhm.
too and surgery and stuff, and that's why it was part of his why he wasn't doing good in golf too. And then like he finally recovered and healed from that, and he started to win again, and it was exciting to see Tiger Woods, man. Tiger Woods is back. Like he was like one of the few people who makes that was making golf interesting or like
Mhm.
watchable was watching him play. Um, But
Yep.
honestly, I'm glad he's okay. I think he had like a double compound fracture or something like that. And
He's
but they
gonna
had to.
have he's gonna have they said months of physical therapy, so I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
if he's ever really gonna be able to rejoin golf the way he used to.
right. Because they put like rods in his legs and pins and all that
Yep.
kind of stuff. So my guess he's going to, like you said, go through physical therapy and he'll probably have to relearn
Retire.
how to walk. Right.
So, but tis life. You make your bed and you lie in it too. Dude's well off. So honestly, what can I say other than at least he's not dead?
Right. Yeah. I'm
Just live out his
happy.
life. He's definitely not poor.
You know.
So, if whatever happened happened, and it seemed like by the article, the way they wrote it, that it was like, oh, we didn't see anything that would have indicated alcohol or anything. So maybe something else will come of it. We'll find more information. But he did what he did. He
Right.
knew the
As of
rules
right
when he
now,
jumped
it
in the
seems like
car.
a freak accident, and glad he didn't die. And
Yeah,
best of luck to his recovery time now.
yeah, exactly. I hope he enjoys it. Retirement, because honestly, that's at this point he just needs to settle down, relax.
Right. And enjoy it as what he got left.
Yeah.
Honestly. But yeah, man. I think it's time to close out this week's episode. Any last comments or remarks?
Not really. Just hopefully spring will be here soon. Vaccines are doing well. Turns out we should be actually getting close to herd immunity by June. With
Yeah,
if
that's good.
people if we keep vaccinating on the way we do. I want to
Mm.
apologize for some previous remarks about vaccines and stuff because I didn't really understand the full situation that some of our African American our black friends and family have to deal with because I didn't realize that even as close as 30 years ago blacks were being experimented on in the medical community secretly. And it's crazy that I understand why there is this distrust with people in the vaccine, how the community of black people are kind of why they're worried about the vaccine. But to be honest, for the better of the society as a whole, remember, I'm taking it, everyone's taking it. I hope that, everyone wants to get the vaccine here soon, hopefully, and we can continue to work together to keep ourselves immunized to it so that we can reach herd immunity and we can all get back to life as normal here.
Well, at least anything as close to possible to normal, but
Well,
because life isn't going to be the same as before. I
no,
know that.
and you know what? This was the future that we're working towards, and honestly, I think we're going to be better off soon here because COVID just really showed the reliance we had on a shitty system, and when that
Mhm.
shitty system lost its bottom line, the system went, "Oh God, we were treating people like natural resources, expendable, and now that we don't have these expendable people, we're going to collapse. These businesses are taking huge hits. And so, just goes to show our economy can't sustain itself when the working class is hit by something like this.
Right.
Power to the working class. So,
Right. I've seen another. The Johnson and Johnson was approved for their
hmm
single dose um,
yep,
vaccine, so you don't have to double dose. You don't have to get two different shots. Like
yep,
that, you get one and done. So
yep.
that's good to see.
So that's why we should be able to reach herd immunity now by June. And,
Yeah.
we're in a better state, and I'm really, really excited to get back to being able to see people.
Right. And socialize and be in bigger groups again and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Yes, I'm definitely excited. I agree. But anything else?
no, wish everyone
Cool.
safety and best of luck out there. Hopefully you get the vaccine soon.
Right, I agree. First off, I want to start off by thanking all the viewers, live viewers who showed up, and any future viewers who check us out on YouTube. Um, and we go live. We want to remind everyone we do go live every Thursday at 7 p.m. So check out those, or if not, check out us on YouTube on every Monday. And also continue to help us out by sharing our content to help us grow. But Roger, where can we find you at?
Same place. If you're watching me live, you already know. If you're not, it's twitch.tv/lunatic_oblivion that starts with an A.
Awesome. And me personally, I want to start off by asking everyone to make sure you check out the talk show with Vic. It's on the Chill Zone YouTube channel, or you check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin'. If you want to check those out live, they're usually every Friday at 7 p.m. So I got a good episode tomorrow That'll be on what is that? February 26th. So definitely be on the lookout for that as I bring on Angie, my good friend Angie. We're gonna talk about like mental health, rape victims, and autism. So it'll be a great episode there. So come check us out. But in just in the process of beating a couple of games, so I'm also getting game reviews up for that. So check that out soon. And you can catch me at a Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin _, Xbox at X Never Space Chillin, and Facebook at Vic Brubacher. If you have any questions, concerns, or if you want to hop on the show, be a guest on either of them, definitely reach out. And but other than that, thanks again, and until next time, peace.
Peace out, guys.